if you're going to put a point in the sand and say, okay, well, here, this technology, everything before this was good, everything after this
but
is
it takes
no
the work
good.
away, right? But it takes the work away.
No, it doesn't take the work away. I mean, you and I obviously still conduct work, and we're here surrounded by today's technology.
Well, and it's more relevant than ever. So it's interesting that you should say the work itself is good. I understand that as necessarily a Protestant point of view, right? Like that's what I've always understood it. And I have long said, and I think despite me coming around, I will continue to say the point of work, and maybe there's a conflict here, maybe there isn't. I would like to explore this if you got just the 5 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
I say this. The point of work is to be done with it. Like, the reason it's work is because we wish it was done. And so if you have a technology or you have a thing like this in the context of AI, it's like, oh, what are we going to do? All the jobs are going. We'll find something. I'm not afraid. We'll find something to do.
Right.
It's not. It's an inherent good that the work is taken away. But when you say that we're made for work, it almost sounds like the technology takes away that work, which would be an inherent bad. So how do you slice that banana?
Maybe it takes away some of the toil. I mean, we weren't meant to toil. I mean, the curse came along and the work just became continuous and never ending. And I mean, we still have to try and take some time. The Sabbath is still there. But it's like you never get ahead, right? It's the toil of it. You can't enjoy the accomplishment anymore in this world because of our fallen nature. But, I enjoy doing work in many different areas. I love working with my hands. I love working with my mind.
Yes.
I take great joy in the accomplishments that I'm able to do. And I'm very thankful that I'm a productive individual, and people come to me with things to do and problems to solve, and it's very enjoyable.
I like this distinction between work and toil. Is that standard? Is that standard Protestantism? Is that like a standard faith? Is that your explanation, or is that like the standard explanation of your faith?
Well, I'm certain that it came to me in my education. I was raised in the Lutheran church. I went to a private Lutheran school here in town.
Oh.
I send my children to that same private Lutheran school.
Yeah. Which school is that?
Grace Lutheran School.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And so I'm, obviously this teaching comes from Martin Luther and much of his Reformation work.
Okay.
During the 1500s. And so, I think it's proven out over time. I mean, Solomon, the wisest man ever on earth, he said, look, the point of life is to enjoy your work and then to pass on.
And that's what it means to be a servant for you.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, where
Thank
we
you.
explore the who, what, where, how, and why of the extraordinary people who define our north of normal metro. I'm Conrad Fargo, and this is the Fargo Five. Today we have Arthur Weidner. Weidner is an I in there, right? I mistyped it, but I remember. But in the German, it's Weidner.
Indeed.
Weidner.
Yeah.
And you are the owner of Crude Spirits.
Indeed.
Okay, so why don't you go ahead, give us your elevator pitch. Tell us what it is that you do.
Well, my two products right now, North Dakota Sweet Crude and Sweet Crude Orange, are sold in North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota. And I came upon this just, I'm an opportunist, right? And you'll find the stories, some of the backstory in our webpage, but Great-Grandpa Martin was making this stuff in his smokehouse over 100 years ago.
And this stuff is a liqueur.
Yes.
You were telling me.
What we call North Dakota Sweet Crude right now, which is a cinnamon and spice liqueur.
Okay.
Great-Grandpa Martin was making that because, at the time, North Dakota was a dry state.
Sure.
It entered the Union in 1889 as a dry state. If you lived here in Fargo then, you had to go over to Moorhead to drink. Well, when you're living out in western North Dakota, there aren't too many places that you can travel to get a drink.
Montana was also pretty dry, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. And, of course, in 1889 or even in 1910 or 1930, it's still pretty difficult to get around out there in western North Dakota. It's the boonies. My dad grew up he didn't have electricity until, 50.
Yeah.
50, 51, something like that.
Yeah.
He remembers being a young kid and kerosene lamps were the thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting history, and I want to peel back that onion. Where I usually like to start with the show is understanding where you're at today and what it is that you have, what you sell, the scale you're at, what that day-to-day kind of looks like.
Okay.
So you're selling a liqueur, which, I don't know that most people understand differences in alcohols, right? Like they just go to the bar and they get a beer or they get a whiskey or they get a bourbon or they get whatever. And most people don't even know the difference between bourbon and scotch, right?
Right.
What is a liqueur?
All of these things are technical terms that the Tax and Trade Bureau, which is who actually is in charge of regulating the alcohol business here in the United States, an outshoot from after Prohibition.
Yeah.
And so the Tax and Trade Bureau has defined all of these different categories. So liqueurs is one of that category.
They're legal definitions.
Yes.
So
indeed.
when you make something in your kitchen or in your bathtub, they can come along and say, this legally is X.
Yeah, they would discourage you from doing it in your bathtub, yes. And they aren't necessarily interested in what you're doing in your bathtub, only when you are trying to sell.
Yeah.
Right. And which is, Great-Grandpa Martin, he wasn't looking to sell.
Yeah.
He was looking to make stuff for his own consumption, which is what my family had been doing for the first 100 years.
And so he passed that on to your daddy? He passed
it on to Grandpa Albert, and then Grandpa Albert to my dad, and because my dad didn't remember any interaction with Great Grandpa Martin.
Oh, sure,
really at all. I was probably 12 when Grandpa Albert passed away.
Yeah.
I learned how to make sausage from Grandpa Albert.
There you go.
But it was my dad who taught me, he kind of resurrected it of making it in the kitchen and stuff. I definitely had some when I was a kid, very young. In fact, I think on the website you'll see the story of the first time I ever tasted it was at the 50th wedding anniversary of my Grandpa Albert and Bertha. And, I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
There's a little old man walking around the outside of the dance floor, and
they'll give people a beer or even wine in Europe, but liqueur.
Schnapps might be what people are most familiar with.
Yeah, like peppermint schnapps.
Yeah, that's technically a liqueur, so it's a flavored alcohol.
Or Bailey's. Bailey's is also.
Although Bailey's has. I'd have to look at that and make sure it wasn't another because Bailey's has cream in it.
Yeah.
Which of course my products don't.
I think I've seen the word cream liqueur though.
Yeah. And I think that might be another differentiation there too.
Like cream liqueur as opposed to
liqueur.
Just straight liqueur.
Yep.
As opposed to what's the one you make White Russians with, which is a coffee. Kahlua is a coffee liqueur.
And I think they add that coffee as an identifier, not as a technical term.
But the cream liqueur is actually a technical
I believe so,
okay,
yes.
Wow.
I believe so.
Well, so, the law is the law,
yes.
But then there's legal land and then there's reality. As far as I understand it, ethanol is ethanol, right? And then everything else is kind of flavoring afterwards, right?
Yes, so...
chemically.
Chemically, yes, although distillation practices are different amongst everybody.
Yeah.
Your level of distillation, your fine-tuning of distillation, and because there's 167 different compounds that come off of a fermented liqueur. Excuse me, fermented liquor.
Yeah.
And so
and
you're trying to separate the one component.
Yeah.
Especially in my business when you're talking about. But there's also plenty of bourbons and things and scotches that don't want just the one.
Yes.
They want several of the other products.
Yes.
And so they have a different tower for pulling off, distilling those portions of the spirit that they want.
And the argument, though, has always been, or the discussion, and I'm curious your take on it, Like people that, bourbon drunk versus beer drunk versus wine. There's such different experiences, but the only real psychoactive thing in what you're drinking is the ethanol? Or is that not the case? The other compounds are doing stuff to your head too?
Well, not necessarily all to your head. I mean, definitely bad alcohol is going to affect your feeling of pain worse than the purest alcohol that's out there. But I mean, you're not going to get a hallucinogenic experience from any of the compounds that.
Well, famously,
come off.
absinthe apparently makes you see the green fairy, or is that not the way that it's? No, I don't know. I've never had.
Well, and then too. So some of the I'm sure you've seen, distilled 5 times or something of that nature, right? So different producers, when they do a second distillation, so everybody starts off with a very strong beer, okay?
All of them?
Pretty much.
I mean, I understand that
corn,
for whiskey.
barley, what wheat. It's essentially a beer that they're starting off with. I mean, wine is a little bit different because you're using a grape. Cognac, of course, is grape-based, but
most of them, you take a grain and you're fermenting it with a yeast?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And so you're producing a very strong beer, and then basically you're boiling off the compounds that you do and do not want, and then you distill out only the compounds that you want. And then, some based upon your equipment or whatever and what it is you want to produce, maybe you'll run it through a second distillation tower. And in that distillation tower, which is what we do, we have certain organics that we put into the trays in the distillation tower. And so when the vaporous alcohol comes through those trays, it pulls out the flavoring oils of those organics, like a gin.
Yeah.
You put all sorts of things into the trays so that the alcohol pulls those flavor components and smells out of those, and that comes out in your distillation. And so we produce, a flavored alcohol, but then also we add it back into our tea. And we have a mixture of organic tea products that we put in, and we basically boil a tea, and we filter out the tea products down to about 10 microns. Don't go any lower than that because otherwise we start stripping out flavor and color and things of that nature. Okay. And we want those things in there.
Like teas, like botanical tea.
Yep.
Like I got tea in my glass right here.
There's some black tea in it. There's some green tea in it. I'm not going to give you everything that's in it, but it's a tea blend.
And this is all the original recipe was like this in the 1800s?
I added one thing to the original to make North Dakota Sweet Crude. And then I added also another thing to make the Sweet Crude Orange. And really what I did there, too, in the Sweet Crude Orange is I dropped the cinnamon way out, and I really put in the orange peel to give you a big, strong, powerful punch of orange in the Sweet Crude Orange. Okay. As opposed to the powerful punch of cinnamon in the North Dakota Sweet Crude.
So the orange one maybe tastes more like an old-fashioned.
People have said that, that it's old-fashioned in a bottle because it has a little bit of the spice already in it, so you don't necessarily need to add the bitters and that nature. Personally, when I make an old-fashioned with it, I drop in my favorite bourbon, half and half with the orange, drop in a cherry, I'm done.
What is your favorite bourbon?
My favorite? Well, I don't know if I have a absolute favorite, but the one that I go to most because I find it to be very high value, good quality, is Basil Hayden's.
Oh, what is it about Basil Hayden's that you like?
I can taste the corn in it yet.
Yeah.
It might be a little bit sweeter than some.
What's the price range on those bottles?
About 35.
Oh, yeah, good.
Yeah.
I fell, now time for story time. I fell down the rabbit hole. So I'm a realtor at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Premier Properties. I have to say the whole thing every time.
Exactly.
Like legally, I'm we're all tied up legally here, right?
Okay.
Anyway, as a closing gift to me, a client gave me a closing gift. Apparently they're related, Oh, and now I can't remember the name of the actual whiskey itself. It's a Scotch, and they're related to the people, and they get free ones all the time. And they gave it to me, and it was Distiller's Choice, and I didn't know. And I was like, I don't like whiskey, but I just was like pouring it and drinking it because it's a waste to throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
I finally looked it up. It's a $150 bottle of Scotch they had given me. So that's how I cut my teeth. And so then I went chasing that dragon, but I'm very frugal by nature. And so like I was trying to find the same taste for $30, which of course isn't possible, right? Yep. But so I went around the Scotch world and tasted pretty much everything in a $30 bottle, and then
that's tough.
Then I discovered bourbon, and I like that a lot more.
Yeah,
and now I've got a whole table full of. I bumped up to $50. $50 is kind of the price point that I'm always looking for, and I'm always trying to enjoy. But you said Basil Hayden's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever had them. $30 bottle. That sounds nice.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to give that a try. And it's corn forward?
Yes.
Okay. If I've discovered anything, I really like sherry cask.
Yes. And I like a port cask, too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I came back from a deployment over in the sandbox, my brother, he purchased for me the one and only bottle that I've ever owned of Portwood, very high-end Portwood Scotch. Okay. And it took me a while to finish that because I treasured every dram off of that.
Yes.
Yeah, it was Balvenie Portwood.
No,
that's like now it's like, I think it's over $300 a bottle or something like that.
And your favorite bottle, it's like, why don't you drink that? It's like, because it... if I drink the bottle, it will be gone.
And I'm too cheap to buy another one.
Yes. Yeah, I got like 6 of those. I've got a buddy who constantly gets really expensive scotches from his clients. And he's always like, here's a little of this. Have you tried it yet? And I'm like, no, I haven't tried it yet. Yeah. It's a $150 bottle of scotch you just gave me the end of. Right. I'm going to wait for the right opportunity. Right. Yeah. What can you think of any sherry bourbons in that $50 range that you would recommend off the top of your head? Have you had Legent? I think they're a sherry cask, and I really enjoy Legent.
Okay, so I haven't really gone out into the bourbons that much. I spend a lot more time in the scotches. But I have, being in the military, I have a little bit of a discount that I can go
that's
to.
Nice.
So you go when you go off to these various bases and stuff like that, it's like, I haven't seen that in my class 6.
Pick one of those up. Yeah. That's good for you. But back to the business and your day to day. So I mean, when I think liqueur, when I hear liqueur, I think of something like peppermint schnapps, something. Not a pun intended, crude. Something very straightforward and simple, and just like really sugaring down strong alcohol so that you can get drunk. But all the care and the tea and all this, yours sounds like maybe a horse of another color here. Yeah,
and it does put some people off. A lot of times when I'm doing tastings at the retail outlets and things, I have to... Some people look at it and they go, "Ooh, brown liquor. I don't do brown liquor." So, no, it's very different than a bourbon or a scotch or a whiskey or anything of that. This you're going to enjoy it. You want to savor it. You don't want to shoot it.
Yeah. Well, in that way, then it is kind of like a good bourbon.
Right. But there's so much more to it. People will. Obviously, it's very forward with the cinnamon on the North Dakota, very forward with the orange on the. But then the lingering notes, you have to take some time to figure out what it is that you're tasting. And obviously, we're adding in a fair amount of sugar, but it's our caramelized sugar. And that was one of the biggest barriers to entry was. When we scale up, it's very easy to produce caramelized sugar on your kitchen when all you need is enough to produce a 5-gallon batch.
Yep.
But producing caramelized sugar perfectly, continuously, and repeatably in hundreds of pounds is not an easy thing. And I went out on the open market to find out what other people, you look in there and you're like, oh, caramel color or caramelized sugar. They put it down in their ingredients list.
Yep.
Well, almost without a doubt, what they're looking for is a colorant.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's available on the open market, if you put a dab of that in your bottle, it will color the entire bottle what you want it, and
it's like
smallest drop.
Yeah, it's like food coloring, basically.
Right, yeah. You put that dab on your tongue, or even if you just touch that and put it on your tongue, it's like scrape it off my tongue bad.
Yeah.
It does not taste good. So that is not what we're looking for. We're not looking necessarily for the color, though we do like the color that it produces. Of course, our tea has a fair amount of color to it, too. But it's the flavor profile and the palate that it produces that we really like of our caramelized sugar. And so, being a mechanical engineer, I put my brain to the process of producing a machine that produces it extremely consistently.
So you built your own mass manufacturing machine.
Right.
Was this your first foray into entrepreneurship? Is starting selling the sweet crude? Or what's your background?
On a big scale, yes. On a small scale, no. My first job was growing and selling vegetables when I was 7 years old.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's not. So I like to crow. I haven't had a job in 15 years. A job is where you work for somebody else. They tell you what to do. You get a guaranteed result.
Well,
right?
I guess technically I was listening to my father. He was saying, "Hey, get out there and do that."
He put you to work, but you were hustling on 100% commission, right?
Well, yeah. Then he said, "Okay, you took care of the garden all summer. We've got more than enough. So why don't you go out and sell the corn and sell the potatoes?" And so I took my little red wagon around the neighborhood and.
At 7 years old.
At 7 years old.
So that'll put the entrepreneurial spirit in you real good.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What was the next self-employment opportunity that you took?
Mowing lawns.
Mowing lawns.
Yep.
So you're one of those guys.
Yep.
Going around knocking doors. 11, 12 years old? Can I mow your lawn?
Yep. Exactly.
And back then they'd pay you in like what a quarter in a fruit cup, or like how did that go?
No, I was a little bit. I'd been making money already, so I kind of knew the value of my work, and so. I would go up and some people would try and lowball you. I'll give you $5. Like, yeah, I don't think so.
No thanks. Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
Yep.
And so you got to have a little bit of savvy.
Yeah.
You can't just let them roll you over. But and then I just expanded it. When I was in high school, I had several of my classmates working for me.
Wow.
We went into a little bit of landscaping.
I mean, you might be like a fish in water here, not realizing how wet you are. That's quite rare.
Yeah.
Like people don't do it. Most people get jobs.
Right.
Most people aren't ready for. I always say. So I do some consulting for small business people. I'm like what you don't realize is now the buck stops with you, and nothing is guaranteed. You might put in, and that's the thing. Like work with people at jobs don't understand because they're like, well, I did 5 hours of work, so I'm going to get 5 hours of pay, and it doesn't work that way on your own, right?
Right.
And you got enculturated to that fast, right? And you also got enculturated with the liqueur fast.
Yep.
You were drinking all that way through, right? At weddings and whatnot. So this is like the family drink, right?
Right.
Was Dad selling it at all?
No.
Okay.
No.
And so, but he was making it. Like this was like something people would whip up on the weekends, kind of a thing. Or
yeah, I mean, we always had a bottle around, but I mean, as a kid, I didn't. Dad wasn't much of a drinker.
Okay.
Maybe
who has time for it?
Yeah, maybe 2-3 times a week he might have a drink or something like that. You know.
Well, number one, I'll tell you that actually puts you in the top 5% of drinkers. Most people don't drink. Actually, like if you look at the statistics,
really?
But the people who do drink a lot. And I used to be that as well.
Okay.
But when I had kids,
sure,
who's got the time and the energy, right? Like they'll wear you out. So Dad's not drinking, but he'll whip it up time to time.
Yep.
You've seen it, you've heard of it.
Yep.
You're starting your own business. You're doing the landscaping. The military's in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Where you rather than starting your own business, you decided to ship off for old Uncle Sam.
Well, I knew that I wanted to go to college too, and
why? If you're already so entrepreneurially inclined, like I guess the question that leaps out at me, and maybe I'm getting ahead in the story, but like you're so entrepreneurial minded, then you go take orders and sit in a room to receive certifications, college, university. To what end if you're already, and then you come back to being an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
Like why take the break from independent? To me, entrepreneurship is just like maximum independence.
Well, I did well at school, and I enjoyed my learning.
Yeah.
And when you graduate up at the upper end of your class, there's opportunities to go and learn more at a university, and especially in the engineering field, not a lot you can do without some level of certification.
Yeah, and you wanted to go into engineering.
Yeah, I enjoyed the scientific, mathematical, and design aspects of mechanical engineering.
Okay.
And synthesizing various things from different realms. At NDSU, I studied mechanical engineering, but I took the polymers and coatings option.
And what year was this?
Graduated from bachelor in 94.
94. Okay.
Yeah. And then, that kind of married chemistry and mechanical engineering together. And it's a unique program at NDSU, the polymers and coatings area. And so that appealed to me. Then I decided to continue on and get my master's, and
all this while you were in the military.
Yeah, well, and I joined
as a means for paying.
Right, I had gone through all of the applications for the ROTC, for the academies, all of those things, and basically they all got awarded to me, and then I got a call. A couple months later, after they were awarded to me, oh, I'm sorry, but we found something in your medical history. We're going to have to medically disqualify you.
Oh, no.
And so...
That's got to be a disappointment.
Yeah, it was. Pretty big disappointment. That summer was kind of, I had everything going. I was going to go to a pretty big-name school and enjoy, a very unique experience. And... or I was going to go off to the academy, so that was going to be fun.
Do you mind disclosing what the medical,
eczema.
That's enough?
Yeah. Well, it was at the time.
At the time. I believe their standards
there's
have lowered
people that really
considerably.
suffer from eczema, not to display or downcast that, but I had a very mild form of eczema. It pretty much disappeared in my high school years, but it was in my medical record.
Wow.
And so there was a very very high bar at the time for ROTC and cadet or academy things.
So it's not just the military in general; it's the specific places in the military. Because eventually you did join. Yeah.
So I went up to the Air Guard after my first year of college, and said, "Hey, look, I'd really like to," because they had a pretty good program, within the state of North Dakota where, you get tuition reimbursement and you get paid to drill weekends. And then if you need to, you can take out some loans and they might, as a bonus, repay some of those loans and things like that. So there's pretty good programs out there when you join the Air National Guard or National Guard in North Dakota. And so that appealed to me. So, and of course, I still wanted to serve. And possibly be a pilot within the Air Force. And so when I went there, the senior master sergeant who was in charge of the medical group there at the Happy Hooligans, he said, "Well, come over here, sit down in this chair and show me where you had it." And I showed him where I had it. And he said, "Wow, doesn't look like you got it now. We'll take you." So, yeah.
Just as simple as that.
Yeah, and I've been in for, for 37 years now.
So you fly?
Well, not for the Air Force. I fly on my own, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I went to a couple of pilots' boards, and the first time that I went to a pilots' board, they said, "Well, gosh, you sound like a really nice guy. You want to date my daughter?"
Okay.
And he said, "But we don't see any, thing that you've done that would lead us to believe that you want to be a pilot." I was like, "Well, I thought you guys would train me to be a pilot."
Yeah.
We'd like to see a little bit more interest, And so, okay, well, then I'll join the flying club up at NDSU, and I'll get my private pilot's license. And I did it about as cheap as anybody possibly could. at that time, and got my private pilot's license. Went to the next pilot board, and they said, "Oh, hey, we'll see it, and you're still a really nice guy, but we've chosen somebody else." And I said, "Well, did you chose Mike? Because he's in my master's class with me, and he was already a pilot. He's flying second seat in a Learjet, and he actually is in the plane that you guys try and find in the military operations area." So did you choose him? And his dad's a pilot, So, no, we didn't choose him. Oh God, what the hell do you have to do in order to get chosen in this business? So it was very, very. It's
not as simple as just sign up.
Competitive.
If you want something specific.
Right.
So I mean, you are exploring all kinds of opportunities in this life. Obviously, I want to ask about flying real quick, but you wouldn't believe it. It's already 38 after.
Okay.
I told you it goes quick.
Yeah.
It goes quick. We got maybe another 15 minutes here. I hate flying. The whole time, I'm just hands-on. I'm just paranoid and scared.
So's my wife. She's grabbing my arm.
I imagine that if I was the one flying, maybe it wouldn't be so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you...
Well, and having an understanding of it.
Yeah.
You because like my wife, she, what was that noise? Oh, well, that was the flap rods. No big deal.
To me, it's more. It's way more conceptual. It's just knowing that if something happens, there's nothing I can do to increase my odds of survival, right? Like,
no, but I've already done. See, I'm
either going to get crushed or I'm not.
I took my pilot's training and my engineering background, and I went to work for the Boeing aircraft company. So I moved out to Seattle, Everett, Washington, and started working. And I was recruited into the program for building the 747-500-600, which was going to be a 1 million-plus pound aircraft that was going to fly around. And shortly thereafter, Airbus announced, we're going to produce the A380. And so then Boeing looked at it and said, you know what? There's not room for 2 aircraft of this size. And we already have the 747-400. So we're just going to discontinue that program. And then, well, do I still have a job? I mean, you brought in like 30,000 additional people and now you're going to, disband this whole program. Where do I go? And my boss, he's like, well, I'm going to go find you a job because you're too good of a recruit for us to lose.
At Boeing, your boss was at Boeing.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And so, I fuddled around a little bit, and then finally I found a research and development arm of Boeing, and that's right up my alley. So had fun.
And so where did all this, you're doing great as an employee, you're doing great as a student, you're doing great, all these things. You came back to entrepreneurship at some point.
Really always kind of had it. I've throughout my life, my first required tax return was when I was 15, mowing lawns. Made enough money that I needed to file a tax return. And through my college years, couldn't really keep the lawn mowing, landscaping side of it going. But I had developed enough skills as a carpenter and a general handyman through my training with the Air National Guard and everything that I did with them that I now employed myself in that fashion. And I've kept up that business, that works of art is what I call it.
Okay.
Dabble in all sorts of things. And throughout my career, too, I've also found myself unemployed from Ma Boeing or from Otter Tail Corporation or Cargill or GE or what, and worked for some of the largest corporations in the world. Every time that I find myself without that type of employment, I come back and gonna start doing some projects. Oh, good. All my family and friends been waiting for you to come and finish off my basement, waiting for you to come off and build me a deck, waiting for you to, whatever, refinish my kitchen. And so never had any trouble finding additional work to do.
Yeah.
when I'm unemployed.
But because we're getting to the end of the show. Where did the idea of Sweet Crude come from? When did that become a business idea? Do you remember?
Yes,
I
do.
The conception of you're like, I'm going to make money off this thing.
Yes, I do. So again, we've been producing it in our kitchen, and my brother and I continue to hunt together, and we had a pretty big hunting party that we would bring out to the western part of North Dakota every year. 10, 12 guys, we'd get together, and finding land to hunt with that many people is a little bit of a task. And so you start to get in with one or two and know them a little bit. And so then we would hand out a bottle.
One or two farmers or
we'd hand out a bottle.
landowners.
Hey, thanks for letting us, hunt, and here's a bottle. And maybe we'll see you next year.
Of the Sweet Crude.
Of the Sweet Crude that we made in the kitchen.
Make at home and bring everywhere and has always been a part of your outings. Yeah.
And of course, it's Western North Dakota, so they all know what, they might refer to it as red eye or wedding whiskey or, something of apple pie that, they might even have their own family version that they still make. And so, I called them up the next year. Hey, we're coming out again. We're going to do some hunting. Wonder if we could, hit that section again. Oh, yeah, it's probably okay. But, remember that bottle you left me last year? Yeah, maybe you want to bring like 6 this year. Oh okay.
Yeah.
And then, so, after a couple of those trips, I just looked at my brother and I said, we just gave away, like 4 cases of liquor here. I think we might be able to make some money at this.
Yeah. So were you always, because it sounds like you're distilling from a grain to start with.
Yes.
Like you've got that grain beer. So it's not.
It's corn.
I mean, okay, because I'm familiar with people who just take straight Everclear and mix stuff to it when you said apple pie.
Sure.
Like, is that a similar concoction?
Yes.
I've had.
Yeah.
What's different about your product? I mean, obviously, because you're not just buying Everclear.
Right.
Back then, were you? Like, is that where it started, or were you always distilling?
Well, my dad, to make it easier on himself, if he wanted a quick batch, he would just go get the Everclear, and then he would do his special things that he would do. But I guess the level of purity, I don't want anything else that comes off of the distillation tower. I only want the purest ethanol. So you're talking, medicinal level quality, 99.999% pure.
And Everclear is not that?
Well, no, I couldn't say that it is. Okay. And also they're adding in a little bit of water and whatever else they put into the Everclear. I don't know.
Yeah.
Wouldn't.
Yeah, because they're like 90%.
Right.
And okay.
So there's other things that are in there. So I want, and like if I produce a batch of the purest alcohol that I can, and I put a cap on that. Mm-hmm. When I pull that cap off after a few days or something like that, that alcohol will actually absorb moisture out of the air back into it, and it will make the container it's in actually a little bit expand.
Because it's so...
It is such a solvent. Ethanol alcohol in its purest form is a very strong solvent.
So the stuff you're making is so pure, and then you add in all the flavor. So you're not
put
getting
it through
any
the tower again. If you're making to flavor it, and then you add it into your tea, and then you add in my caramelized sugar, and that's your final product.
Okay, and that's how you were doing it when you were whipping it up in your kitchen. Right.
Well, and, when we were whipping up in our kitchen, the still that I was using there was still pretty rudimentary. When we decided to go commercial.
Yeah, and what was that like? Tell me about that. Like, how did you decide that? Like, hey, we just sold 6 cases of this. Time to go commercial? Or like, when did it?
Well,
was it like a light switch or more of a process?
It was. It took 3 years.
Oh wow.
And of course, I was employed at the time too.
Yeah.
And so you have to do this, nights, and do all your research and how are you going to break into the business? It's still very difficult. If you look around, the ground is littered with distilleries and breweries, that tried to make a go of it.
Yeah.
And from my standpoint, I knew that I wanted to control the distribution very closely. And so that's how we broke into it and made such inroads within North Dakota so fast. And now that we have that much sales, I don't want to be Mr. Distributor with 20 trucks and 20 employees.
Okay.
So I'm trying to convince distributors in other states to take my product on, and that is a very difficult sell. That's a very difficult sell.
Yeah, how many, so like what scale are you at now? How many people are in the organization?
3.5.
Yeah, to make it go. That's
Right.
That's pretty lean.
Yeah.
And how many bottles, a month are you selling, or how many cases a month? Like what's the
Well, I mean, COVID really did us no favors whatsoever. When you can no longer do tastings, which is the main way that we sell our product, we have a very high conversion ratio when we're doing tastings.
Yeah.
People are at the retail outlets are just like, I know you told me to have 2 cases of product on hand, but I thought, that was BS, and I only had, 6 bottles. Yeah, I went through those in the first 45 minutes, dude.
Yeah.
I've got a couple more cases in the back. I'll sell them to you right now so that we continue this retail speed that we're at.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we have a very high conversion ratio because people aren't necessarily coming in to buy a liqueur, right? They're usually coming, I got to get a bottle of vodka, a couple bottles of wine, maybe a bottle of whiskey to complete my bar at home or whatever. And so, just getting people to taste it, of course, you've got to be pretty outgoing and peppy and get them to put it on their palate. But then when they put it on their palate, they're like, wow, okay, I'm going to pick up a bottle of that.
That's different.
Yeah.
And so are you, is that what you're spending most of your time doing now? This is full time for you? Is this...
Yes, it is full-time, other than the reserves Air Force reserves that I go into.
Yeah. And so are you, because liquor is kind of difficult, right? Like you can't go do all the vendor fairs that are out there, because that's a whole subculture of vendor fairs and stuff like that, right? Or farmers markets.
Yeah, you can
like
go to so within the state of North Dakota, there's, small distilleries. You can pick certain events up to a certain number that you're going to go to. You have to let the state know that you're at those.
Yeah.
And, of course, when I go to a retail outlet, your liquor store, I'm working under their liquor license. And the rules are very strict as to what I can taste, especially in Minnesota. Minnesota's way more strict than North Dakota. It's much better to do business in North Dakota than Minnesota, as far as I'm concerned. And so very strict as to what I can give you, how much I can give you, what times I can do it at, things of that nature.
So as a 4-man operation, you being the head of it, and this is your full time, how does your week normally break out? So like, what's your day-to-day look like? Like, what are you spending your time? What's the hustle for you? What does it look like?
It goes in cycles. When I need to produce a batch, well, then it's I'm in the production mode and producing.
Because you're the one mass producing those batches. And how many do you make at a time?
We make one batch. Oh, you mean how many bottles?
Yeah.
A batch is about 2,400 to 2,500 bottles.
2,500 bottles at once.
Yeah.
It's a lot of bottles to whip up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So it takes a week.
Yeah. And so in a week you get that 2,500, but it's liquor.
Yeah.
So it don't. It's not like it goes bad.
No.
Right. It's hard alcohol full of sugar. It is by its nature shelf stable. So you make 2,400. I like that aspect of it. You make 2,400 of them, then they're as good until you sell out.
Right.
And so then when the weeks when you're not producing, you're just out there hustling.
Yeah. Indeed. Yeah. Whether that be phone calls and emails and what have you, or in person doing the sales and delivering product and.
Yeah, and so you're always trying to sell to the liquor store.
Yes.
You don't. Are you never trying to do more like person-to-person marketing or anything along? Like legally, you're not allowed to.
No.
Okay.
No, I can't be the retailer. There's in every state there has to be at least 3 levels.
Oh.
The alcohol business, there's 3 levels by law.
So I can't buy it from you directly.
No. By law, well, unless I had so if you're a small distillery, there's a certain amount that you can sell at your on-site location.
I see.
And you can only have one of those on-site locations.
And do you have that?
I do not. I do not have a tasting room because then I'd have to man that all the time. And so I don't necessarily need to have that many employees and have that space.
Would it be hard? Could you just set anywhere? If I had a business owner who had some extra space, say downtown, and they wanted to just let you have their tasting room, is that a relationship that could be valuable for you at your stage and your size?
It wouldn't technically be my tasting room because it wouldn't be within my premises. And
you just write a sublease with them, so you're technically leasing it for $1.
Yeah,
like
and I'd have to do something as far as the business other than just be a bar. I'd have to be doing something that, whether I was doing the bottling in the back or something of that nature. I'm sure you could wiggle your way into it. But again, I don't really want to man that.
But it doesn't need to be you. It could be an employee of yours.
Yes. But again, then I've got to manage more employees in another location, and it.
Just too complicated, too many moving parts.
I don't know that it's just not what I feel like is my call.
The direction you want to go with it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's all very exciting, and I want to try it now. I wish you had brought samples, but I'll bet you that's illegal too.
Oh no, I always have bottles in the truck.
Oh, in the truck.
Yeah.
You should have brought it up here. I would have I would have taste tested it right in the air.
We will.
Although that might be illegal too. Okay, because that's the show. We're there. That's what do you think? You said an hour. I don't know how we're going to do that.
Well, my wife said I don't know how we're going to do it.
Okay, and but we made a believer out of her.
Yeah, and I do have a gift for you.
Oh, what do you got there?
I got one free ticket to the spaghetti dinner this Saturday.
Well, look at that.
Yeah.
I got pasta with a purpose for the spaghetti dinner at the Grace Lutheran School. You really big booster for Grace Lutheran, huh?
Well, yeah, and so, I have a clean room. I have a health license to produce food and alcohol and things. And so I actually make the Italian sausage for the pasta sauce there at the same time that we're making our German sausage that we smoke in the smokehouse.
That your dad taught you, or your grandpa taught you. Yeah. Okay, that sounds amazing. I got a big family, I guess. Family of 5 is big these days. Very cool. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
At the end here, we like to plug if somebody wanted to reach out to you, or obviously you just plugged the pasta dinner, but plug anything you want to say on the way out here.
Yeah, well, crudespirits.com. You'll learn much about the business and where you can purchase the products throughout the upper Midwest, and you'll learn the backstory. There's even a link that you can go purchase the product online from our online retailer. Based upon what state you're in. There's, again, state laws as to whether or not there can be direct sales within the state that you're living in. And that's why I let them do that instead of me, because I don't want to keep track of all that legal mumbo jumbo.
Yeah, I have somebody I want to connect you with, but we'll do that off the air.
All right.
Of course. Was that all? I'm sorry.
Well, the two products, North Dakota Sweet Crude and Sweet Crude Orange, cinnamon and spice, orange and spice, and over 100-year-old family recipe. Enjoy responsibly.
Yeah, go give it a taste. Of course, I'm Conrad Fargo. You can find me anywhere you type in Conrad and Fargo. Have you ever heard of a little website called, they're kind of small and upcoming, Amazon.com?
Yeah.
If you go there and you type in Conrad, Hotel Conrad stuff shows up. So that doesn't. If you type in Fargo, the TV series. You ever seen the TV series Fargo? The first 3 seasons were great. After
not
that,
the series.
Like season 1 and 2, very good. No. Like go watch those. But if you type in together Conrad and Fargo, right there. Anywhere. If you go to Google, you type in Conrad Fargo. You go to Spotify and type in YouTube. Anywhere you type Conrad Fargo, I'm there. So please like, share, and subscribe. I'm a millennial. I get my sense of worth. I need validation from strangers on the internet. So if you're listening or watching to this, please make me feel like a worthwhile human being. Like, share, and subscribe me.
And I'll translate for my generation. It's on the interwebs.
On the interwebs. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to get out of here with Rocky Mountain High. This is a cover by Mango Jam.
Indeed.
That was the song you wanted to listen to. I didn't ask you. Why is that song special to you?
Well, I got to see it in person.
Oh, sure.
We use it on a few of our bachelor trips up in the mountains and what have you. We've toured the Rocky Mountains from way up in northern Canada all the way down to the Mexican border, and we've enjoyed listening to it.
Very cool. Well, thank you, Arthur, so much for coming. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we will see you all next week. Goodbye.